you want to count down since you're the master of it?
3, 2, 1. Well, here we go.
Another day,
another Met Gala. A lot of conflicting opinions between Nick and I. Not politically speaking, but
I was gonna say about the Met Gala.
Yeah, because remember you showed me a photo of Rita Ora's husband, who's I can't ever
Taika Waititi.
I
don't think they're married. I think they're just like partners.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he's a good fuck.
I would believe it. I would fuck him.
Oh, absolutely. But then you thought his outfit was ugly.
I wasn't a fan of what he was wearing.
It was great. I mean, just monochromatic. Was it exciting? No, but he looked sexy.
I think
he's also hot.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the men, when it comes to the Met Gala, they tend to go for a suit, which I get it for galas.
I don't get it.
And a typical gala, like if it wasn't like this big event that the Met Gala has become. I mean, yes, it is for the Costume Institute, so it's like we do expect to show up a little bit more. But like men, they're boring with their fashion for the most part.
But they don't have to, and that's what's frustrating. It's like you literally
but you also have to remember, like, it's a straight man. Like, these are also like male celebrities who are like, I'm assuming they don't want to like give too femme. They want to be masked. They want to give like butch, whatever. So it's like, I'm sure there's like a fine line that they like.
There is no fine line. It's a clear line. It's a clear, thick line that's just like, wow, us being exciting is just throwing on a fucking orchid on our fucking suit. Which, by the way, for all the shit that like we give people like the Harry Styles and whatever, who are like, wow, when a straight guy wears a dress on the cover of Vogue is a big, for all the flag, it's like on the flip side, at least that bitch is taking chances, or at least they're trying to like make it interesting.
Well, that's just to say that those men probably don't care about fashion in the same way that the ones that really kind of go out
exactly
all do.
But that's what actually is a little bit more infuriating about it, is because then if you don't, you're literally invited to the fashion event. It's the fashion event. So if you don't care that much, Miss Chris Hemsworth showed up in a fucking like ivory fucking 3-piece. I'm like, is this? And he was a co-chair.
Well, that
bitch,
was, yeah.
Throw a at least he had like 3 buttons down. That was like that was woof. I was like, wow, it's so exciting. I'm like, baby girl, at least give me like a little like ladybug pin. Like, I don't know.
I don't really pay attention to the men anyway. Like, I just focused on the ladies and the non-binaries.
Well, ladies and non-binaries
because they we're for the ladies and the non-binaries. Because they really turn out, and there were plenty of looks that I was really interested in, and I liked, and whatever.
But
and
before we go into that, hi, I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick. This is Pioneers and Trailblazers. But most of the men I didn't pay attention to or care about. The only man that I was like, okay, I kind of live for that and I didn't even really live for it because it was still kind of boring. But Josh O'Connor had at least like an interesting shape of his suit.
Yeah,
and he had like black. It was black, but he had like bedazzled, like little like rhinestoned like shoes.
Okay, apologize.
No. And then I will say, like, he had like coattails, like the coattails of his suit were
split.
They're split and they were really long.
It was a dramatic penguin coat. Yeah,
and so he looked good, but like in comparison to like the other men, like the only other person that I saw that like did something a little bit more interesting was Dan Levy, and he just wore a suit.
Oh my god, we're both on different spectrums.
No. But the thing was, is like, I liked the suit. I thought it was a good suit. I thought it was like a very like pretty thing. But I was like, that not for the Met, like that for like the Oscars would be really gorgeous.
That would have been cute for. I mean, not even. I guess the Oscars maybe. Yes,
or like the Emmys or something.
Or the Emmys, yeah, but
like an award ceremony.
Met Gala. You know how hard it is to get invited to that thing.
Well, yeah, but you also have to remember a lot of these people are going with like specific designers and fashion houses, and like they have their own idea of like how they want to dress their guests.
Of course, which is why like it is such a collaborative thing with the Met Gala. It's like, okay, basically they're putting the money down to dress the person. So I guess in that scenario, like, I can see how you as the person who's being sponsored, it's just like, well, I don't want to rub them the wrong way by like telling them or giving them feedback or whatever, but then I would just be meticulous on like which fashion house I come out. Well, also I feel like if I'm being sponsored for the Met Gala, then they would know. They would know about me. Well, they would know when I go out.
But you also have to understand,
I would show up literally as a ladybug. I would be like Ben de la Creme from like season 5, like of RuPaul's Drag Race. I would show up as a cockroach. Well, no, as well as more like a Black Widow.
The cockroach. No, you show up and they're like, who's that cockroach? And then you're just wearing a suit.
Yes, it's like,
you're like, where?
Was that a brown joke? Wow, Did you hear that? Wow. That
cockroaches come in many colors.
Do they?
Yeah.
Name 3 other colors for cockroaches. Besides brown.
They come brown, red.
Do they?
Yes. Have you never seen a red one?
No, and I don't want to.
They're gross. And then I think they also like I don't know. I think in other parts of the world they come in like much darker like tones.
Wow.
But listen, it's because they have to camouflage themselves because they're nasty and gross and nobody wants to see them.
Well, usually animals camouflage because they're being predated or whatever. No, sorry. Predators are after them.
Well,
they're gig.
Well, we're the predators, Mama. We want to kill them because they're ugly.
Oh, you know about this? So the whole cicada thing.
What cicada thing?
You like the cicadas?
I've heard of them.
But this is right now we're in the middle of like a cicada geddon in like parts of and places of the Americas, continental Americas. They're all literally like engulfing fucking like huge trees and like cabins and whatever. Like they're out.
That was like one of the things that happened like with Moses in the Bible.
That's what I do with my honey. I'm engulfing dick. I'm engulfing the dick like a cicada. Cicada ass.
So just attacking anybody, and they're screaming like, "Get away from me!"
And I was just like,
because they're Got it.
Wait, speaking of terrorizing. Before we get into some, like, 'cause this episode I think is gonna be, we've got some good town hall suggestions. Nick hasn't told me the one that he selected, and I haven't told him the one that I selected. So we're gonna have some fun with those today. You know, just really focus on you all and your suggestions. But from a few episodes ago, we wrapped the episode with like kind of like a cliffhanger for a future episode. Do you remember when we talking about the time that we got scammed, or like that we hooked up or like dated like a criminal? Do you remember?
Wait.
Yeah. So I needed to bring it back because like
Can I tell you that story?
I don't think so, but I don't think. Wait, about the.
Wait, which one are you thinking of? Because I'm thinking of the one that was like the FBI.
I don't think you're talking with the FBI, but like mine is juicy too. Mine was on national news.
Oh, it's the same.
Okay, same. Start. Okay, wait. Let's do rock paper scissors. You start. Okay, rock paper scissors.
Oh, you did rock paper shoot.
Okay, visual learners. You please. That's gonna be the poll. How do you do rock paper scissors? Okay,
I have always done rock paper scissors shoot. Every person I've ever played rock paper scissors with, we've done that. Thank you very much.
So it's an American thing because outside,
I mean, probably
it's just like Shakira. She may not be talked to a lot about in America, but in the world, she's a global superstar. And rock paper scissors is at scissor.
Well, I'm an American.
Okay. Wow.
That's a fact. I'm American. I'm a dumb American.
Okay.
Never said that.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, I'll catch you.
Which means what? I didn't even decide.
Well, I guess I choose like who goes first.
Okay.
I guess I'll go first.
Okay, great.
Okay, great. All right. So, I was touring with the Kite Runner, famously a play. And
based on a book.
Based on a book, The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. If you guys need a book rec, read that book. It's brilliant.
My mom was in a book club when I was in elementary school, and that was one of the books that she read, and I'll never forget because they had their book club meeting at my house the day that President Obama was inaugurated into office.
Oh my god!
And I'll never forget that because
congratulations, Obama.
Because I stayed home sick that day from school, and then my mom made me like go down into the basement because I wasn't allowed to be upstairs because she's like, we're having book club, and then we're gonna watch the inauguration.
Your parents secretly like JC Duggar your ass. Like, I don't know what's that. They had you chained in the fucking your room, basically.
No, basically, anytime I did anything, it'd be like go to the basement, or it'd be like go to your room. I mean, which is like what a lot of parents do, but for me, it felt deeper.
Sounds deeper.
They locked me away.
You couldn't like peek your head out when they were having book club.
I tried to. I really tried to.
They gave you like a food tray and like chained your ass. I was like, all right.
Well, because I was just like obsessed with like the middle-aged mothers. Like anytime there was, my mom would like.
You are one.
Yeah, and I just left the gossip. I would like sit at the table with all of them whenever there'd be ever like a neighborhood party or something, and I just like listen to them because I love it. Anyway, continue. The Kite Runner.
It's fucking funny. No, but what did your mom think about the book? Do you remember?
She liked it.
I mean, yeah, it's a great book.
I mean, that was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's a timeless book, and one of the famous quotes in the book is "For you 1,000 times over." Same thing with cock.
You start crying.
For good cock. I was like crying. But anyway, so I was doing that show, and I was doing like the tour of it. Mm-hmm. And so at one point we were in Louisville, Kentucky. And while in Louisville is where we opened the show, and so
I've been there once.
Yeah, Louisville. And if you're from Kentucky, flood the comments or just comment if you're from Kentucky or from Ohio. Well, no, I definitely have townspeople from Ohio. We shouted out Columbus, I think, Ohio before. Mm-hmm. But yes, if you're from Kentucky, Louisville was really fun for me. I had a really good time. I was also underage when I was there, but like because of the people that I was, which I still am,
Right,
but I was even more underage at that point. And the people that I was with, like they were definitely older than me. And oh my god, friend of the pod, actually town council member Matt. Hi Matt. He was catching up on the episodes as he was going to shoot his TV show, and he was. And I like it when he just texts me like random things from the episode. He's just like, "LOL." I'm just like, Matt.
Yeah, I get that. I have a couple town council members that also do that.
Oh my god, you're inducting some?
Well, no, like they're like current town council members. They'll text me things.
Anyway, so I was, getting snuck in. I remember at one point in Bardstown Road, which is like basically like the like Williamsburg or like hip cool like street where like all the bars and stuff were. They wouldn't let me into a bar, but the bar was set up. It was literally like a house.
You didn't have a fake?
No, never. I never got a fake in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I either just got in or I didn't try.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. Did you ever consider trying to get one?
No, because I just felt like it wasn't cool. I was like, I'm gonna be cool enough to either get in without needing an ID, or I'm just not gonna.
Well, and I suppose it was a time before they were scanning.
And they were scanning.
Because some places, well, and also when I was in college, a lot of the places also didn't scan. Only some of them did.
Yeah.
But like, I anyway, continue.
I want to kill you.
You're like,
I want to punch your ass.
You're gonna punch me in the ass?
Yes.
I've been fisted before.
No, you haven't. You've been accidentally four-fingered, but not fisted. Okay.
No, you did like that.
It's not a fist, honey. You know where your fist is? It's the whole thing.
Girl.
Can you believe?
That I can believe, but I would never.
Oh, I told you about this. I recently watched a porn in which like they literally did a huge cut where like the guy was being fucked, and then the next scene was literally like the hand was going in the fucking ass, and I was like, what?
There's a adult content creator that lives in my neighborhood that I see on.
Shout him out.
Well, I don't remember his Twitter, but he is on Sniffies a lot, and so whenever I see that they like have their Twitter linked, obviously I go to the Twitter to like look to see what they're doing. All the videos were just him fisting like twinks, and then he'd pull his fist out, and girl, that hole
was gaping.
A medical professional was needed. like it literally looked like someone was about to give birth. Like it looked like they were like,
which it physically is.
Like literally, like the baby was like gonna be crowning, I was like, how does that go back? Like once it's like stretched out like that, like how does it?
Listen, trigger warning. Skip 15 seconds if you don't want to hear something very descriptive. But giving you a warning, now. Okay, warnings. Time is over. Whenever someone gets like fucked and like the huge dick comes out and the guy like spreads his hole open, or like the top wants to spread. I'm like, I literally close my eyes. I like get so scared because I don't want to see that.
Can I tell you something crazy?
But some guys like literally.
Yeah,
keep it open like in Bugs Bunny, like
oh no. And speaking of that, someone sent me a porn once in which their hole was stretched out like that, but they were using like like what doctors use when they do like a pap smear on a woman.
The clamps.
Yeah, they put the clamp on the hole.
That's a fucking fetish.
And then they poured.
Okay, more trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Skip 15 seconds.
They poured milk into the hole, and then they topped it off with cereal. And then the person ate the cereal.
No, this is too much. Nick. This is too much.
And I had that sent to me. I had someone send that to me, and I saw that, and I immediately was like, "Why the fuck would you ever think that I would want to see that?"
No, my question is, what cereal was it?
It was like
it Cheerios. Was it Fruity Pebbles?
It was Fruit Loops. And he ate it all. And I'm embarrassed to say that I did watch it because I was so fascinated. I was just fascinated. I was like,
dick in hand.
I was at work. I was like, I had it texted to me. It was a Twitter clip. It was like maybe 30 seconds, and I looked at it and I was like, and I like dropped my phone, and then I like obviously like I went back to it because I was like, that can't be real, and I watched it again and I was like, oh my god.
People, I sincerely apologize. This is the furthest we've ever gone.
What do you mean?
Like telling something. Like, we're really pushing boundaries here.
Well,
I've never heard anybody talk about what we talk about on this podcast, and this really takes it up a notch.
yeah. So
You have to commemorate this episode, really.
I don't remember who posted it, but it was like a pretty prominent OnlyFans creator, I do believe. Anyway,
Really?
they were like, or they had like a big following, but it was a crazy video. I've never seen anything like it.
I kind of want to see it. No. It's great. It's if it's like gruesome, like gross. Like, I don't like that.
It wasn't gruesome.
Some
It
people
was just
get into that,
It was just like I don't know how to explain it. I'll see if I still have that text. I'll have to see if I have it. But
Oh my god.
anyway, you got into a bar.
Anyway, back to the kite runner. So I remember one time I got into a bar and they snuck me in through like the back fence of the bar.
Oh my
friends,
God.
I know, like, but my friends loved me. I was really cool and hip and young.
What
I still am.
changed?
Funny. Anyway, so while I was there, I, as always, this really has been a trend in my life, and I guess I'm just that wanted and sought out. But the gays who would come watch the show would like add me on fucking Insta and then like hit me up.
Okay.
And so one of those men was a certain gentleman who I will not disclose their name. We'll call him Fancy Guy, because Fancy Guy hit me up, was a local Louisvillian, and he would tell me like, oh my god, like I want to take you out to dinner. Like he was trying to like, not even baby me, but just like really show me,
He wanted to be daddy.
He wanted to be daddy, and so I was like,
Was he older?
He was. I was 19, 20.
Well, how old was he?
And so he was, I believe, 27, around maybe 20,
Okay.
maybe 26. But at the very least 20. I think it's between 25 and 27 range. I believe that.
Got it.
So we set up a time to meet, and it was on at an art fair. So he was like, "Are you gonna be going to the art fair?" And I was like, "I mean, sure. Like I'm new in town, so of course I would like to." So went to the art fair, met him for the first time. He showed up in a full-on suit, and I remember this vividly, in like some like lilac to like purple gradient sunglasses, like fancy ones, in a full-on suit with like an ascot.
What time of year was it?
This was September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So met him up. He had like a twang. Not to trigger anybody, but he gave me like, I mean, just in his demeanor, not in his looks. But he was kind of giving like Miss Kevin Spacey a little bit from House of Cards. From House of Cards, the character in House of Cards. It was giving that like the tonality of voice.
Sure.
But, like southern.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe. It was
Kevin Spacey. No, he's
well,
over.
I have met Miss Spacey once.
Really?
Mm-hmm,
I saw him once
at a gay party.
Really? Before
Just saw her from
before
afar.
she got outed.
Well, I mean, everyone has been known about Miss Spacey.
Well,
everyone knew about
publicly in the news.
Publicly, it was before the news.
Yeah, because he did a show.
I had heard
he had done a show on Broadway when I was a freshman in college, and he lived near the NYU campus at the time, and so I know it was kind of like
doing that stuff.
Well, it was literally right before, and then so it was just crazy looking back now. I'm like, oh my god, of all places, like you wanted to live right by the NYU campus.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. But I saw him once at the West Side Market.
You're like, hey,
and I was like, oh my god. I was like, Kevin Spacey. I was like, you're shopping at the same place as me, crazy. And at the time, I was like, he's kind of hot. I would, but then obviously everything came out, and I was like, oh, actually, never mind.
Yep, actually no.
So then anyway.
He was like very much about impressing me. He like wanted to make sure that I knew that he had money. He picked me up in his really nice car. He had a really fancy car.
I'm not into that.
The thing is, like, at that point, like, I was only gonna be there for a month because we have been rehearsing there and we were gonna open the show there, and like, I was down for the ride, like, I was like, cool, but it never really clicked for me. Now looking back, I'm just like, I always think that's a red flag when like the first thing that the guy's trying to do is just tell you how much they have, or like, how much money they have, or like what they like to do, and they only do fancy things. So, and at that point, like, I was just like a broke fucking kid. It was my first fucking show, like and I was like one of the leads, but I was just down to have a good time. I was just having the time of my life. So I was like, cool. So then I even remember him buying like an art piece from this art fair. It was like outside, one of those like outside art fairs. And he even bought this like expensive piece. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. And I remember he like bought the piece, but like, so we started having this affair. And he would take me out. He always wanted to go to a fancy restaurant. He always wanted to, like, parade me around town. He wanted to go to, like, the nice restaurant and showcase me to everybody. Would tell everyone about the show. He'd, like, put his arm around me. And this is during a time in my life that I wasn't, like, fully out. Does that make sense? But, like...
You weren't out?
I never really came out, and we've talked about this. Like, you know, like the very first serious relationship I was in, it was the first time I ever like fully came out and told people that I was dating a guy. Mm-hmm. Before that, I had never like come out, but like people knew I was gay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you could just tell.
Yeah, of course. And like, but I had never told anybody I was gay, but like I guess it was just assumed. But you know, I was touring with a show, and I was in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was my first time that I was just literally publicly out with this guy who was clearly parading me around. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I remember
feeling... Was he hot?
He was good looking.
Wait, can you have a picture?
Well, actually, I'm going to have to bleep that name because some people can probably Google him.
Do you have a picture?
I don't think so, actually.
If I Google his name, could I find a picture?
We'll look it up.
Because I want to see what he looks like.
Yeah. White guy, obviously.
Right, of course.
But anyway, so... The entire time they were hanging out, he would like tell me like, oh, when you're back in New York City, like every time like I have a special boy in my life, like I like to like rent out a helicopter and like, you know, like I want to like have you see like the New York City skyline the way it's really meant to be seen, you know, like. And mind you, when we went to his place, he told me that he owned the building, but that he rented out like a room or something in his like house or his condo, but he would tell me that he owned the building, but then like he like has somebody that lives in it. I mean, which literally, as we know now, he'd be like kind of roommate basically.
Yeah.
Like he would tell me that he owned the building. Anyway, so he started coming around more the entire time that we were in Louisville. So like people saw him. He would like be a part of like. He would come meet me, whatever, at places. So, like, the people in the show who were part of the show, like, the stage managers and everyone, they knew who he was. And then he would take me to a lot of gay parties, and with, like, a lot of the wealthier gays in Louisville, who were, like, the older gays in their 50s or whatever, he would, like, bring me to parties with them. And you know these fucking parties. And you've told me about a couple of them that you've been to here in New York City. The older gays, when there's a young gay at an older gay soiree... Bitch, it's like you're in like you're basically putting on a show for them. Like they look at you like candy. It really is like that. It be like that. Like the older gays look at you and all they see is like fresh meat, you know, and you kind of feel it. Like you feel like the objectification of like the older men who just look at you as this young person.
Sure.
They're very like touchy-feely. They love to grab, you know, like. And ever since I was young, people have always told me my skin's so smooth. So like, every time like older gays want to flirt with me and they touch me, they're just like, your skin's so smooth, and I'm just like, oh, thank you.
You're like a baby.
Anyway. That's all in all. So, would take me out to dinner, would always pay. Even when we did takeout, it had to be from a fancy restaurant. Like, it couldn't be just from, like, a fast food place. It was always, everything was always top-notch, top everything. And I was like, wow, that's very nice. You know, cool. I never thought anything of it.
Everything?
For absolutely everything. He was also obsessed with George Michael. Oh! A key point of this, of my time with Mr. Fancy Guy, is that it was the first, because we had sex, obviously. His dick was the biggest dick I had at that point in my life. Like, I had never seen a big dick. And it was my first time seeing a big dick. It was the first time I ever tried poppers. He had poppers because I guess, you know, people would need them because he had a big dick. And he had one of those big dicks that had like a big head. He had like a mushroom head. Why are you crying? You're literally crying because you don't know what's happening. You're like, I know what's coming.
I'm so scared. I'm so
scared for you. And so I tried poppers for the first time. And guess what? If I want to be vulnerable, it was the first time I ever painted on a guy. He would fuck me all the time. And I remember the first time, it was like getting my period. Like, I'm assuming that's how girls feel getting their period. Because when you just like go to the bathroom and like they just see blood, you know? And you're like, bah!
Oh, that happens to me all the time.
Oh, when I fucked this guy, he like fucked me after he got me poppered up, and then he fucked me, and then I was like, oh my god, like this feels so good. And I was like, oh my god. And then after we fucked a few times, we fucked like 3 times in one morning. I remember one morning, and then like the third time that we fucked, he was like, all right, you know, it's time to take a shower. And so like I went to get the shower started, and I went to go clean myself up, and then like I was like. I I was like, what is this? Oh my God, what happened? And then like he never said anything about it. So I was like, oh wow.
The first time I tried poppers, I didn't feel anything. They like didn't hit. Sorry, that just made me think of that.
Were they old?
I don't know. The guy that I hooked up with, it was the same guy when I showed up to the place. He already had somebody else over there, and he's like, "Oh, three-way," and the other guy was like,
No.
"I'm gonna go." That was that same guy. And then he was like, "Here's some poppers," and I took a hit from them, and I like took a really long hit. And he told me that they told me that they were good, and then I was like, "I don't feel anything," and he was like, "Oh," he's like, "Maybe," he's like, "Probably because it's your first time hitting them."
No, if it's your first time, you absolutely get the biggest head rush.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Wow.
But anyway, that just made me think of that. But anyway,
you always getting drugged or like just giving some weird shit.
Guys really just like drugging me.
You're drugging material.
Just like, how come I'm just like so like petite and small.
Oh my God, I'm giving drugs.
And I'm like submissive, and they're like, oh, I just want to like get you all drugged up, and
Drug
then like,
me, daddy.
and then like have my way with you, and you can't say no, and I'm like, yes.
We cannot make drug me daddy title of that because we would probably get flagged. We would
No, but it would
get taken down. Anyway, so then. We leave, and then next stop was Cleveland, Ohio. So we're in Cleveland, and I had my own. They always, we had our own like apartment, or whatever. So suddenly, I wake up, and mind you, I had already met the other guy who I started having a relationship with. So then I met another guy in the next city because I'm, me always attracting the man
And a whore.
So I'd already met that guy. We had already like made out or whatever and kissed, and like I was falling in love with him. And then I woke up one day on the sofa, and then I got a call from the stage manager from the Louisville, Kentucky show, and I was like, "Oh my God, hey girlie, what's up? How are you doing?" She's like, "Did you see? Do you get the newspaper delivered to you?" And I was like, yeah, because like, they drop off the USA Today or whatever, at the door of it was like a long stay apartment complex, whatever, or a hotel. She was like, go get the fucking USA Today or whatever. It was I think it was USA Today. And she was like, look at page whatever. And I was like, what? There was a photo of Miss Fancy Guy getting arrested.
For what?
Capital fraud. Wow. Like had like blue, like it was a white collar crime. Like he had like scammed and like fraudulently like stolen money from people like that.
He took Be Gay Do Crime, literally.
Be Gay Do Crime is the title of the episode. Girl, I was like looked it up, like he ended up going to prison, like federal prison.
For how long?
For 4 years, I believe.
Wow.
For all of the like, he like had like scammed credit card companies. Like he like it was like 6 figures. Like,
unless they work diva.
And on the fucking like article, it was just like, yes, the money that he used to like spend on like lavish dinners and helicopter rides on New York City multiple times. Like those boys he was impressing, it was all fucking like
a scam.
Wait, he was a scam artist, and I was being fucking like, I was like.
Well, you didn't get. I mean, honestly, you got in the best position because one, you got to have all of your meals paid for, and you got to like have these like fun little experiences. And then he got in trouble, and he went to prison, and then you're just chilling.
I was like, oh damn, and I was like, well, that sucks. And then when he got out of prison, he found me. He like contacted me again, and I saw him.
You like met up with him?
I met up with him in New York.
Did you fuck?
Here, we didn't fuck. He took me to dinner.
You let him pay? After all that?
Absolutely. I was like, well.
The police show up in the middle of your meal. They're like, your card got declined.
He was like, of course I'm paying. He showed up again in like the full suit, whatever, which I think he had put in storage from like all his fancy
Did he know
suits.
that you knew?
Oh, we talked about it.
Oh, okay.
And he told me, now what? And then when he paid,
Did he get a prison bitch?
What?
Did he get a little prison bitch?
But federal prison is not like that. It's literally just like a huge house.
I know. It's like Orange is the New Black Light. You know what I mean?
No,
right?
No. It's like, think of like where Martha Stewart went for like federal prison for like white collar crimes.
I picture like Orange is the New Black level.
No.
It's like a chill, like low security, minimum security vibe.
Orange is the New it's not. It's much more like, think of like a university that has like high security.
Like the one that Jen Shaw's in.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's giving Orange is the New Black to me.
They're not. Orange is the New Black is like a prison.
Yeah, but it's a minimum security prison.
I don't
think
so.
Like when I think of like high security prison and like really serious shit, like I think of like Rikers. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I just always think like you like think of like insane asylums, but like for like white collar criminals, you know. There's like grass.
But you could also develop
a library.
If you're in prison for 4 years, you could get a prison bitch.
Yeah, I never asked him about that, but I remember when he paid because he wanted to pay for the tab. I was like, "Are you sure?" No, he used a company. It was like what I have, you know, like a Bank of America, you know. Like
could you imagine? You know? Could you imagine the bill comes out? He just takes a look at it and he goes, "Actually, can we split?"
I know. It was so funny. It was crazy to me, and I was like, wow. Like, I met him in a different moment in time. Like, imagine like me being on a helicopter ride and him getting arrested. Like,
you just be vibing.
Actually, I'm kind of jealous that the other ones got the helicopter ride and I didn't. All I got was like fucking like fancy dinners in Louisville, Kentucky.
Take what you can get, bitch.
Yeah, I guess whatever.
No, my story is very different. And much darker.
I think you told me, does this involve drugging?
No.
Okay. You're being underage though. No. Okay, you tell me.
Okay. Content warning. Just be prepared.
Content warning on what though? What's
pedophilia.
Oh. Okay, cool.
And assault. And I'm trying to think of like the other things or whatever. But anyway, but just be mindful of that. But
wait, I think you have told me now, but tell me again.
Okay, I did a TikTok of this like a couple of years ago, and it went really viral. So some of you, if you remember me from that, you might remember the story. But it was my freshman year of college. It was second semester. The semester's about to be done. I matched with this guy on like literally every single dating app that there was, and so finally he was like, "Okay, we've matched on everything. We should just like meet up and like go on a date." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yes!" So he went to Columbia. I went to NYU, and so he lived on the Upper West Side, and he was like, "Why don't you come over to my place? Like we can have dinner, watch a movie, like hang out, whatever." And he was a senior at Columbia, and he was a junior at Columbia. He was a junior or senior, and I was a freshman. So he was older, only a couple of years. And so I look him up or whatever, like, cause like I like followed him. We followed each other on Instagram or whatever, and he's like pretty well established. Like he was preparing for to give a TED talk. Like he was like a political science major, which is apparently now I didn't realize at the time, but a red flag. And so
we're gonna have to see the TED talk. I need to see the TED talk.
And so then he invites me over to his apartment. His roommate wasn't home at the time, and so I go up there for dinner. He's like talking to me, like he's like very charming, and very charismatic, and like whatever. And like there's definitely chemistry between the two of us. And so we like hang out.
And how old was he again? Sorry.
He was like 22.
Oh, so I guess within that time you were contemporaries.
Yeah, like we were or maybe he was 24 and like but he was a junior or senior in college. I think maybe he didn't go to college right away after graduating high school. I can't remember.
And you were 19.
Yeah, I was like.
So 19. Literally, while I was touring, this was happening to you. Literally, was happening at the same time.
Yeah, literally at the same time.
Literally at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we watch. We have dinner together. He orders pizza or whatever, and then we watch The Beguiled, directed by Sofia Coppola.
Miss Coppola.
But then
Miss Kirsten.
Miss Kirsten Dunst. But then while we were on his couch, the whole time he was like being really touchy and like whatever, and trying to initiate a hookup. And at that point in time, I was in this phase where I was like, "Oh, I'm not putting out on the first date." I was like, because I really wanted a boyfriend. I like was desperate.
You still do.
I mean, yeah, but now I'm a little bit looser. But I was like desperate. I was like, I'm not gonna put on the first date. You know, I'm gonna keep him wanting more. But he was just like really wanted to like hook up. And at the time, forgot to mention this, fully had braces, because I got my braces off when I was 20. So then we're on his couch, whatever, and finally we're making out, whatever. And he's like, you want to go back to my room? We didn't finish The Beguiled, so I don't know what happens in that movie. I never went back to it. So we go to his bedroom, because then all of a sudden his like roommate came home, and she was like, "Hey," and she was like super nice and cool, and I was like, "Oh, hey, girl." We go into his room, and we're like making out, whatever, and like his dick hard as a rock. I can feel it under his sweatpants, and he's like, "Oh, I really want to fuck." And
what was his look like?
Like, what do you mean?
What was his vibe? Like, what did he look like?
He's like my height. I'll show you a picture. You're gonna think he's not cute, okay. But like the energy, like the way that he was just like very smooth, and the way that he like talked. So like, and he was very.
Did we start recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, because I didn't do it.
I did it.
Oh, that's why.
Okay, so anyway, so we're in his room and we're making out, whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I really want to fuck." He's like, "You want to spend the night?" And I was like, "Oh no, I have class early the next day. Like I had studio at like 8 a.m. So I was like, and at this point it was maybe like 10:30, 11, and it was gonna take me an hour to get home. So I was like, oh, I have to leave soon. He's like, no, just like spend the night. Like we can just like fuck and like whatever. And I was like, oh no. I was like, we'll fuck the next time. I was like, don't worry, babe. Like we'll do it. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I was like, I have to go home. And he's like, oh, okay. So then he walks me from his apartment to the train station. He's like, I'll walk you. And I was like, really? And,
Gentleman.
And yeah, it was very gentlemanly. He's like, yeah, like I'll walk you. He's like, it's late, like whatever. So he's like, and I also want to keep like hanging out with you. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, he wants me so bad. So then we kiss goodbye or whatever. I take the train. I remember the next day I go to the studio and I'm telling all my girls. I was like, I found the one. I was like, I found my man. And they're all like freaking out and they're like, tell me more. Literally. But then we were like making plans to like hang out again, and like because it was the end of the semester for both of us, both of our schedules were like very busy with like finals, and he was also preparing for his TED talk that he was about to give or whatever. And so then finally, like,
on what?
So he was adopted, and this all kind of ties in because of how sinister this whole thing is. But he was adopted, and he gave a TED talk about like what it was like growing up. I can't remember where he was from originally, but he was adopted, was born outside of America, and then his parents adopted him and brought him to America. And like he had like a really bad experience like in the foster care system where he was in, like he was like abused and like all this kind of stuff. So he like talked about that or whatever. So then anyway, and he like had this foundation where he was like helping like kids who were also like in the foster, I don't know if it was in the foster care system, but or like in the adoption care system, like the adoption system or internationally. Dark, isn't it is. And so then I'd just be warned. And so then he was like preparing for that, and so then he FaceTimed me like literally like the last week of school, and he was like, so like, do you want to hang out next week? And I was like, oh girl, like I go back home like in a couple of days. And he's like, oh, you're not gonna stay in New York for the summer? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, like, he's like, damn, that really sucks. He's like, but you know what, like we like had a long conversation. He's like, okay, listen, if you're still single when you come back and I'm still single, like let's reconnect, like we'll meet back up or whatever.
If you're still, this really is Greece.
No, literally. And so my life's a movie. My life's a movie. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then he's like, yeah, like we'll keep in touch, whatever. He would comment on everything that I like post on Instagram. Like he'd always be like a fire emoji or be like looking good or like whatever. And then middle of the summer, he gets a boyfriend. Ugh. And the boyfriend, hot, like literally like one of the hottest like dudes I had seen. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I got so pissed off. I was like, really?
But he was still like commenting on your stuff?
Oh, but was still commenting on my shit, whatever, was like looking good. So over the summer I was in a, actually this is really funny that you say Grease, because I was in a community theater production of Grease. In the ensemble, and of course it was the 4th of July, and we were performing. I mean,
you couldn't be Kaneki. That part was taken.
Yeah, it was taken by a very straight straight actor. They just put me in the ensemble. I was glad. Was it what was the guy who does like the little prom? He like hosts the prom, and he does like the
MC,
the hand drive song.
Yeah,
I sang that. That was my award-winning solo
character work you were doing.
Truly, after 1 year of in my BFA program, I'm like, okay. I went to the audition. I was like, I'm obviously they're gonna cast me as Danny. I was like, obviously, like I'm the most talented person in this place. I'm the only one who's getting professional training at an elite university. And then they're like ensemble. Yeah. And I was like, well, no, I got a message from like one of my friends in the group being like, did you get so and so's, who was the director's, Facebook message? Mm-hmm. And I was like, what Facebook message? And then he was like, oh.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, there was a group chat with all the leads. Guess you didn't get it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was ensemble. Anyway,
fuck them.
We're performing in the.
Look at you now.
Look at me. Look at me now. They're all like, we're good.
This is J-Lo's look at me now. This is me now.
I don't even get me. This is me. So then anyway, 4th of July, we're performing in the 4th of July parade in my hometown. We're doing just like the entire cast is doing a number as we like go down the street. But we're like waiting for the parade to start, so we're all lined up. And I had posted a photo of myself on Instagram the day prior, and I looked good in it. And I was like, this motherfucker has not commented or DM'd me or slid up on my story in the last like 2 days. I was like, what the fuck's going on with him? Like, where's he at? So I go to his Instagram and I look at his most recent Instagram post, and it had like over 800 or 900 comments, which is not normal, which was not normal because he did not have a following like that. And then I like was like, what's that about? And so I opened the comments, and all the comments are like, burn in hell, I hope you rot in prison, degenerate, evil, like all these like horrible, like wishing like the worst things imaginable on this man. And I was like, no, what's that about?
You're like, wait a second.
I was like, wait.
Why are you being so mean to him?
I was like, what did he do? I go to Google. I type in his first and last name. I hit the little magnifying glass to search. The first things that pop up are a New York Times, CNN article, and a CNN article saying that this man got caught in an FBI sting for having, 1, childhood pornography, like a lot, on his computer, and then 2, having relations with a minor that he admitted to. And he could, because the FBI sting or whatever, it was like these 2 FBI agents that were posing on this like dark web website or whatever, where these sort of people, I guess, like to, you know, hang out and chat about their little things that they do. And he like, it said to these like who were posting as like other like pedophiles,
as other pedophiles.
They're like, yeah, they're undercover, like in this little like
not as kids, but like as
adults,
people who consume,
right? And then he was like talking and bragging about all of these like things that he did, and so like obviously that piqued some interest. I read the whole report. I was like, oh, I have to know everything. And so I like read all this and I was like, you're kidding. And I literally like started to have a panic attack
because you follow him and then he follows you. So you're,
but like, also like I fully made out with this man.
No, of course.
And like
the optics, I'm all about the optics. I'm like, because they're gonna know you follow him.
Well, at that, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, what is going on? And I like literally had to sit down in the street, like just like, and go like,
you were having a panic attack.
No, I was having a panic attack, and
before Grease Lightning.
No, literally, and then
panic attack before Grease Lightning.
This little girl that was in the cast who was like obsessed with me, and she was like, is everything okay? And I was like, get away from me. Back the fuck up. Okay, I need some space.
You're like, everyone, I cannot talk to anybody right now.
No, it was literally,
you're like literally in the middle of the street like this.
No, I was like dry heaving. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, oh my god. And then I like did research more and more because I was like, I wanted to get more information because like obviously they didn't release a lot of information at that current moment in time because it was so sudden. But then like his boyfriend, that I like stalked him on Instagram, and he like made a post being like, I had no idea. Like everyone stopped coming and commenting and DMing me death threats. Like I had absolutely no idea that this was his life that he was living.
Like, the last 24 hours have been the most difficult of my life.
He posted something like that. His roommate that I met posted something like that. All of these people that like he had like mentioned to me that he was friends with, I like went down the line on Instagram and was like finding them, and they all had like a main grid post being like, I am not connected to this man in any way.
By the way, I'm making fun of it because that's what we do here, but I understand this is like a horrible situation.
Right, no, it's awful.
But of course, like the Instagram is just like, wow, words cannot describe.
No, it's like words cannot describe how shocked and appalled I am at me when you get canceled.
It's like the person's like dry cleaners owner is like, wow, people need to stop reaching out to me. No, I've done this person's laundry. Yes, that is true.
No, it was crazy. And then he then obviously got arrested, so he was in jail. And then I kept trying to find.
Alert.
I kept being like, okay, when's court gonna happen? Like, I want to know. Like, I want to get all the details.
Because you want to have your victim statement.
I was like, am I gonna be like? Are they gonna like? Because I was like,
the news are gonna come to my house.
And it got to. Then I like started to figure out because I was like, oh my god, like he was probably only interested in me because I had braces and I looked like I was 16. Like there were so many. There were
so gross.
No, because there were so many guys on Grindr who would like when I first moved to New York would be like, I love that you have braces, and I'd be like, why? And they'd be like,
disgusting.
And they'd be like, yeah, dental care, orthodontics, ew, disgusting.
Disgusting.
No,
Townhouse member Spencer, disgusting. Your profession, horrible.
It's over. No, and then a lot of these guys would be like, because it makes you look younger than you are, and I'd be like, well, I'm 18, so like that's concerning. So then obviously I would stop talking to these people, but then it made me start to think like, how many of them just didn't say anything, but they all like secretly were like into it. And then I was like, no. Anyway, I posted it on TikTok and it went really, 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 really viral. And then,
do you know what happened to this person? Are they still in prison?
He's in prison. I think he got 15 years. Because they like kept postponing the trial.
And to be honest, to me, like maybe that's just my controversial take on shit. And you can think whatever. I'm crazy, but like if you have committed a crime that involves children, like pedophilia and all that stuff, like dark web, because there is a dark web, and the dark web is full of like horrible shit
and also drags.
But like if you're a part of an FBI sting, where you admit
it was so scary.
Like that to me,
I was
personally, that is just life in prison without the opportunity of parole.
Cause
one thing is selling drugs and whatever. Like some people might think that like the Griseldas of the world should get like jailed for life.
But honestly, because I read the whole like report, like the FBI report, because they made it public or whatever.
It is public record, of course.
It's public record, and I read it, and the things that he's quoted saying like in these chats are some of the most like disgusting things I've ever seen in my entire life. And like I joke about it now because obviously like you have to, but like when I read that, I was like, this man is evil. Like this man is, there's like something wrong. Of course. There's something like that's really nasty. Evil. And then it just made me feel like, thank my lucky stars that like, you know, like I was smart enough where I mostly when that happened, I was like, thank God I didn't have sex with him. Like that was like the big.
Also, like thank God that in a fucked up way you had a good experience with him. Like it wasn't bad. It wasn't. I mean, and I think maybe that's like another thing is like he probably was able to do it for as long as he has been, because I think it was going on for like years, but like he was just very charming and like it was really unassuming, and also he had this front of like, I'm helping children with my foundation, and like meanwhile the whole time, you know, this is like all going on, which is just like really dark and twisted, but disgusting.
But yeah, that was crazy. And then again, it was like all over the news, and I was like, and my sister, because I told my sister, and she just was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And every now and again she'll be like, remember that time? And I'd be like, yes, I will never forget it.
Please don't bring me back to the parade.
I was like, please back to that day. We go together, like that was the song we sang.
Oh my God, we go together.
They're like, yeah,
we're on the dark web. Oh, so horrible. Let's take a quick break.
Oh, a break.
And I just need to go get I'm so hungry. I gotta get my pineapple while you pull up like the.
Okay.
Maybe. Do you have any shout outs or?
I don't have any shout outs. I just have town hall questions. We go together like da 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 ding a dingy dong, ever like change it up, and know where we should be. Oh yeah, always.
I'm starting to shake because I haven't eaten anything.
Be together. That was me at the gym. I was on the Stairmaster and I was like. Okay, so I have a couple. We don't have a whole ton of time.
Do you have any like quick ones that we can just talk about?
So one of them, this one question. I don't know if this person wants me to like give out their name, so I'm just gonna.
Well, I feel like if they submitted something on the box, like.
Well, this is kind of a personal question.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're talking from personal experience that they want to do this, but they said sex with best friend. Is it worth it or not?
Well. To say that I have some gay friendships that started with like, you know.
But is that like your best friend?
No. I also famously, I've talked about this, like you're one of my closest friends. I don't believe in like, some people have best friends and I don't know that like you can be best friends with somebody. Like I have so many close friends. But a best friend? Have you ever had like one best friend?
It's like I think I heard Mindy Kaling describe it as like a tier. It's like I don't think like you can necessarily have just like one. Like for me, like there's like a level of friendship where it's like that. It's a level of friendship where I just like consider that person family then, and then there's like closer friends that are outside of that circle that maybe I see like every once in a while, like every couple of months, or like we can catch up and it's like, oh my God, and it's like whatever, and like we love each other, but like it's not super close. I don't see them all the time. But then there is like the tier that's like I'm talking to like every day, or like, you know, I'm texting every day, like we're making plans to hang out every week, and like that kind of thing. Like those are like my best friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that like my friends who like live in different areas or whatever, or like I don't talk to as like frequently because there's also like your schedules and stuff. But like I do think it's like a tier. But I've never had sex with like a best friend. But my problem is it's like the way that I operate, or the way that like
you catch feelings.
Yeah, and I think I think like if I'm friends with somebody and like I really love you in that regard, you add sex into the mix, and I'm like, okay, so like we should just get married.
Yeah.
And then at that point it's like, and usually it's I have a hard time
separating
that line, especially if I have so much care for somebody. Like if I can have sex with like a lower tier friend, you know what I mean, someone that I see every once in a while, because then it's like, okay, fine, like I understand, like this is just what the friendship is, like we may fuck every once in a while, we like maybe like hang out once every couple of like 6 months or something, and then call it a day and like whatever. But
yeah, for me ultimately just comes down to like, okay, is this strictly a sexual thing, or is this, you know, like I actually there's like potential for something else? Because if I know it's just sexual, then like I'm cool, you know, I'm easy to just be like, okay, you know, we just had sex, whatever. But if I feel like I could, like, you know, once you start like getting that itch of just like, oh, you like them in so many other ways, and then, you know, it starts to become that intimate, then I would say, you know, pump the brakes. But
I've had instances before where like I've had really close friends like ask if I'd be interested, or like basically kind of, you know, say like, hey, like would you want to like fuck, or like put a move on me, or like make a move or something, and I've turned it down just because I know myself and I know that would become way too messy, and then usually those instances still got messy and were life shattering, but for different reasons. And
if you have the kind of friendship in which there is that open communication, then like I don't say why it would be wrong to not shoot your shot, you know.
Sure. And like
if you're like, hey, would you be open to have sex or whatever, and then in a very casual and like positive and friendly way, just be prepared for the person to say like, no, I think it's better for us to just stay friends, and if you're cool with that, then you're like, okay, cool, you know?
And I think communication, whether or not you have sex with them, is like probably the most important. Even if like you do have sex, to make sure that you're both on the same page, understanding like what your both of your boundaries are, what you're looking to get out of it, if it's just sex, if you're looking for something more, you know, because as soon as a lot of people, it is kind of like cliche to be like, once you add sex into the mix, it feels like very like heterosexual to be like, like guys and girls can't be friends and like fuck. But it's like, but some people are really great at like maintaining like queer friendships and relationships with people that do, you know, cross that line, or, you know, are a little bit more fluid. I just know personally I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, same.
So like I can't do that. But like if that's something that you can do, oh my god, all the power to you. I have so many friends that do that, and it's like, congratulations. I wish I was able to do that, but I'm 1, insecure, 2, jealous.
Yeah.
3, beautiful.
Sure.
I don't like to share.
at the end of the day, again, you know, like I would love to be like a, you know, a party bottom or whatever, but like if I'm dating a guy, I'm like, you're mine.
Yeah.
You're mine and mine only. I want that cock available 24/7.
Well, because ultimately at the end of the day, I just want one man. I want one penis in my hole at all times. I want to sleep with that dick inside of me.
Yeah. And then like go to
keep
the
it
movies.
warm. Keep it warm.
Yeah, then, like,
I literally smoke a joint together. Someone asked also to talk about the first time we ate ass.
Well,
I know.
Well, we're gonna make these quick stories, but like,
this is a quick story.
This one, to me, I can't recall the first time I ever ate ass, but I do know the last time I ate ass, and it was that one guy who came over to his place. I talked about this like 3 months ago, and after I knew he was versed, and he was like, "Yeah, I top," but then like after he finished, after I finished, he hadn't finished yet, and then he like put his ass up on the bed, and I was like, okay. I was just like, I performanced it out. I like, you know, pulled out the interactor in me, and I was just like, all right, cool. And I was like, and then I just like ate his ass for like 2 seconds, and then I was just like, okay, I guess he wants me to fuck him, and I did, and I was like, ah.
Oh, see, I don't know. I can't remember if this is the first time, but it's like one of the first times I have eaten ass, because I don't do it that often because I don't really enjoy it. I don't really get anything out of it. But there was a time, and I can't remember if I told this on the pod, but it was 2 summers ago, and I was at work, and this guy hit me up, and I hit him up because he was like older and he was hot, and he like was nearby, and I was like, oh well, maybe I can go after work. And this man, rich as fuck, he owned the building. Like not in the way that your man, fancy guy, did, which was like fraud. Like this man was like a developer, and he like owned this building that he lived in, and he like had the penthouse, and I like took the elevator all the way up there. He had like a partner or something, but like his partner like lived in their other home, which was like in Miami. So then anyway, he like has me come over like for a drink. We like sit down chatting. He seems very nice. And then I was like, well, I don't know if I'm necessarily in the mood to like fuck, because like I didn't have sex, like, and I had said that before, and he was like, oh, that's totally fine. He's like, why don't we just like go hang out in my like bed for a little bit? I was like, okay, great. So like we got into his bed, got naked, and we're just kind of like cuddling, and then we were like making out for a period of time, and then I think he was like, he must have been drunk when I got there, but like I couldn't tell, or like he was on something, because then he started to act really strange when we were like in his bed, and then all of a sudden he like put his ass up in my face, and he was just like wagging his ass, and I was like, oh, and like I was like, okay, and he's like yeah, eat it, and I was like, oh, okay, and I go down there, dirty. And I literally went and I like kind of smelled, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, no.
I was like, and so then I like kind of like kissed his cheek or whatever, and then whatever, and he's like, no, like really get in there, and he like took my head and was like pushing me.
Oh no, Nick.
And I was like, no, and so then finally I was like, I'm not into it. So then I like pulled my head back, and I was like, okay, it's kind of late. I gotta go all the way back to the Upper East Side. I biked. I was like, I was like, in
so your ass was dirty too.
Oh, I was in my city bike era, so I was like, oh, I gotta go home. It's like kind of late, and he was like, no, like spend the night, and I was like, oh, like I have to be up early tomorrow, and then he like, and this happened to me a couple of times, because this also happened to me once with a guy who was on meth, but he must have thought that I was somebody else, because he's like, you did this to me last time.
No.
And I was like, this is the first time I'm meeting you, sir. And he was like, no.
Excuse me, sir.
He's like, did you happen last time? You said you were going to stay and you didn't. And I was like, this is the first time that I'm meeting you. And so then I like got dressed and I left him. Like he just like stayed in his bed. And then I took the elevator down to the ground level, and then I city biked home.
Good.
And I was like, that was a dirty ass. It was not good. It was dodge the dirty ass. Title of up. So yeah. That was the first time. I think that was like one of the first times that I ate ass, because I really can't remember any of the other ones, because I don't really do it that often.
I don't enjoy it. I don't like to do it. No, I love getting rimmed. I do not like to rim.
Yeah, I like getting rimmed. I don't necessarily like doing it.
I do like to like feel a butt.
When they're fucking me missionary, I like to grab onto the butt.
I love, and if it's a good butt, it's a good butt. I'm like, oh, I love.
And listen, like when I topped that one time, I will say
You were pounding it.
No. I don't think I ate.
Nick was pounding that butt, sis.
No, I don't. I don't think I ate his ass, but I did finger him for a bit, and I was kind of like, excuse me, and I think it was because as a bottom, like I know like how important that is for me to like get stretched out, and so like when I was doing that to him, it was like kind of fun, because I'm like, it's similar in the way like when I'm jerking a dick off, where it's like I get pleasure from giving the other person pleasure. So like the fact that he was like, when I put like my fingers in his butt and he was like and whatever, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait, you're into that? Okay, cute. But I wasn't into the ass eating.
Nope. Next.
Oh, another question. Some of these are like a little bit longer, because one is like asking about like worst date story, like not necessarily a hookup, but like a date.
We can save that for.
We can save that, and then someone. This is a whole episode that we could do. They said they would literally love to get a bottoming 101 episode.
I mean, we've done how to suck a dick. We've done different missionary, different like doggy styles. We've done that. That could be a fun episode to just talk about how to bottom. I mean,
what we do
to bottom, or how we prepared.
Probably, because like,
I mean, we're
not medical professionals.
No, I mean, but it honestly, like, well, we could talk about bottoming an entire episode. Like, the advice is always gonna be the same. Like, unfortunately, it is work, and like, it is the funniest thing to talk about. Like, one of our coworkers was like, "Oh my god!" Like, he was like, he's mostly a top, and I was like, "Have you ever tried?" He was like, "Yeah, I did it once, and it was too much work." And I was like,
"Wait, which one?"
Oh. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, but that's like what I hear pretty constantly, even from tops who have tried to bottom, or like verse tops or just tops. Is like, have you ever tried it? And they're like, yeah, I did it once, but it was too much work. And it is true. Like, being a bottom takes work. So all your bottoms out there right now, if you're a bottom, comment right now on that on the fucking like video, or like shout it out, because you need to show appreciation for your bottoms. Fiber, a good diet is really good. Cleanup is great. Douching. If you've never douched, we can talk about this now, I guess. I mean, you can either get one of those the enemas from like the Walmart or Walgreens or whatever your local store is. Just make sure that you're always getting rid of the water that it comes with, because the whole purpose of the water inside the enema
is a diuretic.
So it's gonna make you want to go poop. You're trying to achieve the opposite. So always empty out the water. If those are for single use or what, I mean, I don't know what but I would just say just invest in like a one.
Making sure you're cleaning it.
Yeah, making sure you're always cleaning it. You know, you're putting it up your butt. As far as the douching bulb goes, make sure that the one you get is not too big. And a big thing with the douche is that like you don't want to fill it up the bulb all the way to the top unless the measurement feels like it's correct. So imagine like the amount of water that the douche bulb comes on those enema bottles, those are meant to be for like single use, right? Mm-hmm. So think of that. Some bulbs that you buy are much bigger and like bottoms think they have to fill up the whole thing and put it in their butt. But then the water is just going to stuck up like further in your intestine. And then it's eventually just going to have to come back down. So you don't want to use too much water. If anything, if you're trying it for the first time or just want to be careful, do less water than you think is needed. Because then you can always keep doing it until you're clean. Sure. But if you push too much water in there, remember you're pushing not only water but also air.
Mm-hmm. And then also remember that like your hole is a muscle. You have to stretch it properly before you try to do anything with it. Like if you were going to work out, you know, you have to make sure you stretch before you lift those weights. Otherwise, you're going to hurt yourself. So making sure that like either one, if it's stretching yourself out, like in the shower, like what I do sometimes is like after I douche, if I'm on my way to the trades apartment, I'll rinse off in the shower and I'll just like finger myself, you know, for a little bit. And then I'll like progressively like, you know, add more to just make sure that I'm like nice and loose. Otherwise, you can get an anal training set, get some butt plugs. That's what I have too. If you're trying to take on a bigger dick.
And to add on to that too, we got 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. To add on, I like how we're just like, oh, gotta be quick, and we're literally just going to talking about all these fucking topics.
Well, we'll have to hurry because we also do Pioneer and Trailblazer.
But if you haven't bottomed or you need more, it is a practice, and you are going to have to bottom more to know exactly how your body operates. For example, Nick right now is saying that he needs to finger himself or stretch himself out, anal. I don't need that. But not because I'm loose.
I'm just really tight.
I'm very tight too.
Yeah, likely story.
But I you'll start realizing like, oh, I have a tighter butt, so like I do need the guy to like finger me more, Don't ever feel nervous or self-conscious with asking the top what you need. That is actually probably a great advice, because a lot of bottoms
advocate for yourself.
Because you're like, oh my god, but I'm the bottom, the top needs to be in control or whatever. Like, yeah, he can be in control all you want, but like you're still the one getting a dick up your ass. So like whatever you need, if you need the top to finger you, ask him to finger you. If you need the top to rim you, ask him to rim you.
If you need to start out riding it because you're in control of it, and then you can slowly, sit down on the dick versus them just like jamming it in. Yeah. Do that. That's what I do.
And listen, they want to fuck you. Like if you're already in bed, these tops are ready to fucking load your ass.
Well, yeah, and also,
or use a condom, whatever.
But also, it's like communication again, like the conversation we were having, like having sex with your friend, like have a communicate with your sex partner, And
it doesn't, and you know what? It doesn't even. Some people think like, well, I don't want to make it sound so operational. You can make it sexy. You don't. It's not just like, oh, actually, you're like literally missionary. You're like, excuse me, sir. Could you put 2 fingers inside me, please, just so I could stretch myself out?
That's what I do.
Well, that's why you're not getting laid.
But I'm not getting laid by choice.
Sure, but then like you can make it sexy. It's like, oh, do you want to finger me? Do you want to like eat my ass? Like you can make that a part of the thing. Or like, for example, you're like, can I ride you first? You can make it sexy in explaining what it is that you need. But anyway, we can go into more detail with more bottoming tips, but I think those are pretty good ones. And just treat your body with kindness, and your body is going to do what it's going to do, and bottoming is a job, and just kudos to you for doing it.
Great. Do you have a Pioneer?
I do. Wait, one shout out to Portland, Oregon. Okay. Well, I guess we can shout out this person because it's at oh my god. Oh, great. Add Edom for life. Which I don't know, like some of these names are, you can tell like there's like a burner account or whatever. But anyway, shout out to Oregon, townsperson, Portland, Oregon, townspeople we love. And then we also have this. We have time for this. Town hall proposal: how to handle it when you don't like your friend's partner.
Ooh, that's a good one. And honestly, we don't have enough time because
Okay,
we could get.
Should I cut this or should I say?
Well, we'll save it. We'll save it for next week.
We'll save it. But we did receive that one, and that was pretty juicy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that's a good one. Do you have your trailblazer? Also, my pioneer is gonna be the criminal justice system in America for getting these criminals in jail and in prison.
Sure.
And prison reform it's needed in this country, but also I'm so glad they got snatched.
And then my trailblazer is gonna be the musical.
Go prison.
My trailblazer is the musical Grease.
I mean,
because
timeless,
a classic,
and we love,
but also just beautiful and high school.
Yeah, and honestly, the fact that like good Sandy needed to slut it up and be bad Sandy, honestly, still remains true.
My older sister, one year for Halloween, we were obsessed with Grease as kids because we like got it on DVD and like we watched it like nonstop. And my sister really wanted to be Sandy, and my mom was like, "Okay, but you can't be bad Sandy. You have to be like Sandy before she like changes." And my sister was like, "No,
I want to be bad Sandy."
And then she was like, "Why can't I be bad Sandy?" And my dad was like, "It's not appropriate." And we were like, "Why not?"
As you both locked up in the fucking like, crates downstairs in the basement.
Oh God!
I want to be bad Sandy.
I was like, "Oh, can I be bad Sandy?" And they're like,
"Your crows today are giving bad Sandy. All you need is just to puff them up, and you're giving bad Sandy."
Tell me about it, Stud.
Anyway, please follow us on Pioneers and Trailblazers on social media, at Instagram, on YouTube, and give us a review on Spotify at Pioneers and Trailblazers, or also on Apple Podcasts. You can follow me. Guess what? Not only at Hey Peru on Instagram or TikTok, but I have an X account now that I wanted to start using to just do live tweeting for special things. Like, I did a live tweet of the guy. I have 2 followers. You haven't followed me back yet.
Because I didn't know what your user is.
So my username is at @HeyPeru_. We'll put the thing. If you're a Twitter person.
Was Hey Peru taken?
Yes, Hey Peru was taken. I don't know, the Council of Peru. I don't know who took it, but it was really embarrassing. So I'm at @HeyPeru_.
Wow.
But it's okay. I want to start doing live tweets of events and, just funny banter on specific, like cultural events. So if you want to follow me for that, please go. I literally have 2 followers. Don't let me be a loser on fucking X. So follow me there.
And you can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownfaceBinch on TikTok, and ClownfaceBitch on Twitter /X.
Oh my God, we have bunches of stuff coming up. Oh, I guess we could just keep talking about it. Please show us some love and comment and stuff, and yay!
I have no idea what you said, but bye!